Let me show you how to put all these goodies back in here. In this episode of Aston1936.com, I'm going to show you how to reassemble all the components into my newly wood refinished ski slope. So I'll have a link to a video up here where I'll show you the process of getting the wood refinished, but it looks fantastic. The ski slope's been refinished, the GPS cover's matching refinished as well. So it's time to put all the components back together. Now I shot a video on how to disassemble all of that, and I'll have that linked up here as well if you're interested. So we don't need too many fancy tools for doing this. We basically need a T20 Torx, and I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape. Now this is Frost King foam tape. I got it from the local home center. It's basically going to replace this failing foam that can be found on the backs of the vents. So that's something, and I got a pair of scissors to cut the foam tape. So hardly anything really for tools. We're going to start with putting some new jewelry in. These are the original buttons that I took out of my car. You can see them. They're the plastic buttons that are black. And as you saw in that video, I broke off these little spring-related mounting tabs on 3 of the 4, or 2 of the 4 buttons, I think. So these are about $160-something each. And I figured, well, if I'm going to replace the buttons, maybe it's time to do a little jewelry upgrade. So in these bags, when I got the wood refinished, I also purchased the factory optional Aston Martin original part glass buttons. And these things are going to just look fantastic when it's combined with the new wood. So let's get each of these out because I'm going to use those. So there's the new buttons. They're a like-for-like replacement to the original plastic buttons. So that's where I'm going to start first, is by actually installing those. So they are pretty much just a push fit, and they're keyed where they line up into the hole. So there's basically a slot that kind of guides them over a little ridge that's on here. So they should just line up, and then you just push them home. Now those spring clips will be compressing, and I just want to do this once. And there we go. Easy peasy. Well, there we go. Those look fantastic. Now I'll move the start button over when I get ready to install it in the car, because I still have the car jury rigged so I can drive it. But that looks fantastic. That's a nice upgrade. And solves my broken button problem. So next up, beyond the buttons, I need to worry about getting the vents ready to go back in. This is the one for this side. The vent controls go to the outside edge, but this one I've already cleaned up. Now I talked earlier about the failing foam that was falling off. Like literally, it's just come apart from all the heat and age. This foam is dead. So I went ahead and I cleaned it off this one already. So now you can watch me in time lapse do this one real quick, but it's basically just do whatever it takes to get this sticky old foam tape off. All right, well, my thumb will never forgive me. That's kind of hard on the skin, but that was kind of the best way, was just to roll the glue off, and it cleans up eventually. You can use your fingernail, but I found that just rolling my thumb was the best solution. Now I want to plan on getting the tape reinstalled. So I'm going to deviate from the factory's original method, which was to take this, the foam and lay it down like it was. When I saw the actual video that Aston Installations had sent me when I was taking their version of the ski slope removal that I'll have linked up here, there's a moment when Ryan takes out the vents, and I can see that instead of mounting the foam to the outer edge here, what they've done now is they put the foam into the socket where this is going to press up against, and this will press against the foam to get the sealing done. So I'm going to do that approach, and to be the style that's used in the later models. So let's head over inside the car and take a look on how to do that. So here we are inside the car where the ski slope usually sits. This is the socket where the fresh air comes up, and they put the sealing flat against this inner surface of the vents. So that's what I'm planning on doing here. So I've not done this before, but I'm just going to figure it out as we go. So there's the idea now. The vent will press into that nice soft foam and make the seal. It's going to work a lot better than sticking it on the sides where you have to kind of magically align it. I bet you it never even lined up anyways and just pushed against this stiff lip and scraped off. So that's easy enough to do. I was careful not to stretch the foam because the foam could be stretched, but if you do that, it'll probably try to relax, pull itself off. So I just flopped it down, at its natural length, and let's do the other one. All right, so foam prepared. Let's go back and keep working on the ski slope and put the vents in it. If you were wondering how long that piece of foam tape was, that's about 11.5 inches. So if you've got 2 feet of it, you've got plenty to get the job done. So next up, we're going to install the vents into the car. So controls to the outside edge. We can flip this over then. And there's 3 screws, if you remember from the disassembly video. So you can't really mix up which one goes on which side. To start with, I'm just going to push it into the hole. Oh yeah, that looks fantastic. Now, and we're going to use 3 of our T20 Torx screws. And I'm not using any motorized screwdrivers for this. This is brittle plastic. I don't want to break any of them off. So I'm not going to tighten them down until I have them all 3 started first. Just snug is all you need to do. Now we'll fit our second one. Check on the fit, looks good. Okay, with those 6 screws snugged up, now we can have a look at the result. So the front panel is starting to look really nice. Check that our vents are all working. All right, now we can move on to the Nav Cover assembly. So if you remember from taking it apart, this was mounted in this incredibly brittle, already broken in a couple of places, piece of crap, piece of plastic. This is not available to purchase. I looked. If you want to buy a new Nav Cover surround, you have to buy the new Nav covers that aren't composite, that are metal. So you end up getting a new design this, a new design that, a new design that. It was like at least over $1,000 to fix it, to change it over. So I'm going to try and make do with the cover I have. Yeah, so, and if you're a resourceful person out there and have a 3D printer that could potentially make this assembly, it's 3 parts. If you could somehow scan this and make an identical duplicate out of something that would be stronger, I bet you there are owners out there that would be happy to buy them from you. So anyways, reach out, leave a comment below, contact me via my blog if you are somebody like that. So now we need to get this set up on the part. And there are 6 machine screws that are built into the cover, and they line up with the holes on the hinge brackets. Now this is, you can see there was the crack there already on that. And I remember from my disassembly video that I only had 4 of these 6 screws for some reason, thanks damn previous owner. So when I took it apart, there was only screws in these top 4. Well, I'm going to spread it out and put screws in the upper and the lower. Okay, so I just made those snug, and now the cover is mounted to the bracket. Now we have to get the frame back into the actual ski slope. So that's held on with 11 screws that go around the outside. And if you also remember, there was these little shims that I had that went under the top screw mounts. And 2 of my top screw mounts are broken, so it's a joy to behold. So this just sits in, it lines up pretty easy. I got to get these little shims in underneath here. So I've taken another approach at this. To be able to hold those little shims in, I've actually put the screws through them first. And we'll see if I can get this lowered down on top of the post. Those seem like the first ones we should do up then. So I'm not going to make anything tight yet. And tight is a relative term. I know more of it's going to probably break if I make anything too tight. So I just want to check that the nav system opens up okay. It does. I actually feel it bumping a little bit, just where it clears the top here. And if we look from this side, it's just rubbing along here. I may come back with a Dremel and just take a little bit of that off to make this easier after I'm done if it still interferes. So let's go ahead and put the rest of the screws in. Well, there you have it. And we've got them all snugged up now. And we've got our cover ready to use. So that's not a very difficult project. Just take your time, be careful, because you've got all your beautiful finishes to protect while you're doing it. And you will be rewarded with a completely refurbished ski slope, which just, man, that looks great. So I can't wait to get it into the car. So down here, you're going to find a link to my companion blog article. I'll probably have a link to the sealing foam, the glass button part numbers and things like that. Up here, you'll probably find a link to the next part of the video series, which is probably going to be installing the ski slope. And if you like videos like these, please go ahead and subscribe. You get automatically notified when the new ones come out. And as always, I love to hear your comments. Please leave those down below. If you are interested in printing a 3D frame or have anything you can tell me about how to do this better, I'd love to hear the comments. Thanks for watching.